Hey you guys, in today's video I am going to show you how I make my kombucha and how I also do my double ferment to get all of these little bubbles. It gives a nice effervescence and carbonation to my flavored kombucha. It's really easy. I'm going to show you guys how to do that in this video. So my tea, I have half a pot with seven Lipton tea bags, and I let them steep for about 5 minutes. Probably a little bit longer because I got sidetracked, but that's good enough. I'm gonna add a cup of sugar. So this is my third cup, my 1/3 cup thing. So I'm gonna add 3 of these. And I do have the flame off. Add a little bit more because I don't think I got it totally full. And then just gonna try to dissolve this. So you just want to make sure to add your sugar while this tea is still hot, so that way it dissolves easier. And I can feel that it's all pretty much dissolved, so I'm gonna go ahead and put this with my regular water. Okay, so what's happening here is I have my tea off the stove, and you can still see that steam. It's pretty hot. And then I have another pot of cold water, and I'm just using my faucet water. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my cold water in here first. I don't know why I do things the hard way, but I'm putting that in first just because I don't want to break my pan. I mean my what is it? My jar. And then I'm going to try to pour this in without getting it all over the place. Okay, so that should be not super hot, but still yet pretty warm. And that's why I like to do it with just boiling the half, with just the pot. And you could use like any amount of water if you just fill this up and divide it into two pots, and then you can, you don't have to wait forever for this to cool down. So this is still yet pretty warm, but I don't think it'll be hot enough to kill the SCOBY. Actually, it does feel pretty warm, so I'm gonna wait for a little bit before I add in my SCOBY. Okay, so here is my tea that I have brewed, and here is my SCOBY. I'm hoping it's still alive. So I'm gonna put, this thing is doubling every single time. So I'm gonna put that in there, along with some of the brine, whatever it's called, I don't know. I'll probably toss this. It just keeps getting bigger every single time. So that's that. Where's that? Oh yeah. And then I'm gonna put this coffee filter on it. And a rubber band. You can use whatever you want. I think cheesecloth still lets those little flies get in, so I like the coffee filter, but I know it's not a reusable option, even though I do reuse them. And I'm gonna set this to the side. and keep an eye on for bubbles and life. Okay, so this is a couple days later. I think it's been about 3 days, and I had this up against the counter with my little heating pad on the back, just set on low because it was a little bit colder. So this, my sister always takes a picture of hers, wondering if that's mold or not, and it's not. Sometimes scobies just look really weird. So that is a new SCOBY. Even these little things over here, those are air bubbles. And this is just right here, that's some kind of weird swirl. So, paw already. So, with a really, So first thing, with a really clean hand, I'm gonna take, see, that's the new SCOBY. You can save that in here in a clean jar and pull out our original SCOBY and try to probably put it in here as well. And then I'm going to cover that with some of the liquid and I'll just store it in the fridge. Let me set up my camera real quick. So real quick, I just want to mention that SCOBYs look really weird and they might look different all the time. This is totally normal to look like this. My SCOBY was super hungry. I had it in my fridge for a really long time, probably about 6 months since the last time I used it. They're very resilient, so give them a chance before you throw them out. Also, this floating stuff in there is pieces of the new SCOBY, so it just all looks weird, but it is fine, I promise you. So, to keep this, I'll just put a little bit of
flour tortillas for.
Yep. Tortilla?
Yeah.
For the food. Just like that is fine. And if I had another batch of tea, I could put this right in there. So basically the kombucha is done, but I like to double ferment it. So I'm gonna blend up these peaches. So I have this, peach pureed. I just put it in the blender, and that's about half a cup. I'm just tossing this in a measuring cup for you guys to kind of give you an idea. I usually eyeball everything. So I'm gonna add it to a clean jar. Let me rinse this out real quick. Okay, so I'm gonna add this to a clean jar. And then I'll put the kombucha in it.
Ooh, kombucha.
Mango. Looks dark, yeah?
Yeah.
Maybe I should have put more mango.
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 I thought it couldn't fit with that. I thought it was just gonna slide off.
No, I don't know. And then I think I'll go ahead and make some ginger. So I went ahead and cut a little bit of the skin, the woody parts off of the ginger, and I peeled the ginger. I just use either a spoon or right now I'm using the back of a knife. I find that it takes off just the skin. If I use the potato peeler, then it takes off a lot more of ginger than I need. So I just do it this way with the back of the knife. And I'm gonna add this small little chunk. It is probably about, if I chopped it up, it's probably going to be, about a quarter cup of chopped ginger. And I'm going to be also adding about a third cup or about a half a cup of granulated sugar and a little bit of water to the blender. And I'm going to blend it up. Okay, so I'm going to put this through the blender with some sugar.
Sugar.
About a third of a cup. So I usually try to aim for about a half a cup of some type of something sugary, like a puree, or like this, like a sugary ginger water juice, in order for my double ferment, because I'm using these this like half-gallon jar. I usually go for like a half a cup of. This one was a little bit over, but that's okay. So I add more of the sugar for the double ferment because that's gonna help it bubble up and give it that effervescence. I have also used dried fruit before, like dried pineapple, or even frozen fruit like blueberries. But with the frozen fruit, sometimes you might just want to not put it in frozen because it's going to lower the temperature of your ferment, and you need it to be kind of warm. And so just make sure to let it melt before you stick it into the kombucha to ferment. Also, you're gonna want to put your kombucha in a warm spot. So, these were a couple like cold days that we had, even though it's technically summer. It's been cold, so I had these up against my wall in the kitchen, in the counter wall. But I had a heating pad behind it to keep them warm. So you want to make sure that the temperature is like ideally about 75 degrees in order for them to ferment well. And then I'm going to put these lids on them because I want to create a seal so that it builds pressure, so that way it could form the carbonation that I like. This is the main reason that I do my double ferment, is just to get that that carbonation or effervescent type. Sometimes it's more bubbly than other times, but that's what I'm going for. So this is day 3 of my double ferment. This one is the ginger, I believe. Oh, that was crazy. And this is the mango. And you can see there is a lot of bubbles. There's a lot of activity in there. All those little tiny bubbles.
I'm sneaking under the grass. I'm sneaking under the grass. I'm not kidding.
So now what I'm going to do is put these into the fridge, and they will continue fermenting, but just not as fast. You can see this one's very active. This is the ginger. And give this a little shake. You can see all that bubbles. That's nice fizzy carbonation that I love. When I do buy them from the store, I always shake them like this to see if those little bubbles come up, and then I know that it's going to be fizzy and carbonated the way I like it. A lot of activity in this one. So into the fridge they go, and then when they're cooled off, then that's how I like to enjoy them. So here they are out of the fridge. I already had some of the ginger one. It's still a little sweet, but it tastes so good. And here's my mango one. I haven't opened it yet. You can see that some of the carbonation, the activity, kind of goes away. It doesn't, it's not as active when it's colder, but you can see those little bubbles. So it still is very active, but I think actually, I might like it a little bit more sour than what it is right now. But you can still see it's still pretty active in there. So I'm going to go ahead and see what it tastes like. I love the ginger one. Try it.
This is actually really good.
You like it? You gotta try the ginger one. So there you have it. I hope you guys liked the video and give these recipe a try. I think I might let the ginger sit out a little bit longer because it's still kind of sweet. I don't know which one I like better. Oh my goodness.
Whoa.
Tastes so good.
Can I try?
That's the mango one. I think I like the ginger one better, but they both taste really good. So I may let this ferment a little bit longer, but it tastes really, really good. And I think this one fermented a little bit faster, which is kind of strange, the mango one, but they both taste really good. I hope you give these recipes a try. They are full of probiotics and they're super delicious. So thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if you're not already.